Hey, so today I want to talk about something that every single woman over 50 feels, but I think few of us understand. And that is why the evenings feel like they unravel us, even on days where I'll say that we wake up super determined to like stay on track, right? You know what I mean? So in the morning, you feel really hopeful and even motivated. You might feel disciplined. You might start with, okay, today's the day. Like, I'm actually going to do it. And you're like gung ho to go, right? I call that kind of like 5 a.m. Lori or 6 a.m. Lori. And then 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Lori sounds like this. So you go through your day, 6 o'clock hits, right? And all of a sudden, you are this completely different human. So, what I want to do today is kind of pull back the curtain on what's actually happening because you didn't turn into a different human being, right? And I'm going to share a personal story about this that I don't think I've ever shared on this podcast before. It shows exactly why the evenings feel so hard and why it has nothing to do with willpower. So I'll tell you like how this episode even came about. I woke up this morning, the day that I'm recording this, and I had one of those thoughts because I've been sort of out of my routine of regular workouts, like super disciplined workouts. And it's okay because years of disciplined fitness routines have me at a certain place. And I'm not going to lose all of that overnight. And with the move and all the things that have been going on, I just have, in winter, I haven't gotten back into the routine of daily workouts or workouts like, 4 or 5 days a week. And I've been kind of struggling a little bit, I'll say, with gearing myself back up to that discipline. Not the scale hasn't moved. It's not a big deal, but I have kind of had a few mornings where I'm like, okay, today's the day. And then I look at the weather and it's like 20 degrees or whatever. Meh. Anyway, so this morning was one of those mornings. I woke up and I was like, okay, I really, today needs to be the day that I get back into my gym. And I have a dedicated space now in this new house. And then one thing led to another, and I didn't get to it. But it made me think about all those years and all the times that I've talked with women who are clients in our 12-week program and even in next level kinds of coaching programs who share the same kind of story where in the morning they are committed to being on track. And then by evening, they just feel like they have absolutely no willpower to stick with it. And it's a vicious cycle that they stay stuck in for a really long time. And for whatever reason, this morning I was thinking about that, like I said, and this personal story from my past came to the front of my mind. And I wrote a long formatted article about it on Substack. I'll talk about that a little bit. And I even posted a caption while I was getting my coffee. I was like, okay, I need to share this on Instagram. So, all of that to say, that's what led to me recording this podcast today. And I'm going to share that story with you because it really does illustrate exactly why evenings feel so hard and why it has absolutely nothing to do, like I said, with willpower. So let's kind of dig in. So I want to start here. Women over 50 do not fall apart in the evening because they're weak. You're not weak. It's not about that. You fall apart because your days are breaking you. They are wearing you down and breaking you long before the sun ever sets. So by 5 or 6 o'clock, your nervous system is done. Your bandwidth is fried. Your emotional load is overflowing, right? And so what do? We blame it on the evenings. I'm tired. We blame the cravings, the snacking, the irritation, the glass of wine, the lack of discipline. We blame all of those things when the truth is, the real truth is, your evenings are not the issue. Your days are the struggle. They're the problem. Your evenings just kind of reveal what your day tried to hold together. It reveals all of that. So, Let me break it down, tell you what I mean by that. So, women who are over 50 in particular spend their entire day emotionally responsible for everyone, the family, coworkers, stress from work, worry about the laundry list of things that we worry about, right? And carry anxiety and stress around. But one of the big ones, and it was for me, and clients tell me all this time, is worrying about adult children. We carry around and deal with caregiving for our older parents, decision fatigue, pressure, the pressure to perform at work, the pressure to function all day, and this constant expectation, like of being the steady one for everyone else. By the time we get to the evening, you're not so much hungry as you are depleted. Your body is reaching this level of grief, and you're dealing with needing relief. So it's not that you're reaching for calories so much as you're reaching for that relief that you're looking for. A lot of times, the wine that you pour isn't about enjoyment so much as it is about you trying to regulate what's going on in your body. So the snacking isn't about a lack of discipline, it's kind of out of survival mode. Your nervous system does not care about the goals you set at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock this morning. What it cares about and what it's responding to is the overload that you've lived through all day until 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And so your evenings are just telling you the truth about the rest of your day. It's telling you the truth about what the day is hiding. Okay. So I'll tell you this personal story now. Again, I don't think I've ever told it on this podcast. I may not have ever even told it publicly. So, years ago, I was obsessed with The Biggest Loser. You remember that show? I never missed a season, never missed an episode of a season. The cast, I knew them all. I was fully invested in every competitor. I had my favorites and, whatever, whatever, but I was fully invested. And every single season, basically with every episode, I would think if I could just get on that show, if I could get away from my life, I could finally lose the weight. I even looked up when they were doing auditions in Dallas. I checked out when they would be there. I looked at the whole like application process and interview process. I imagined going and doing that. Never did it, but I looked into it. Like I did the research and I remember thinking like if I could just get picked, I'm so ready. I would crush it on this show. And that feels a little embarrassing to admit, but I mean it's where I was. And here's the kicker. While I would watch the show, while I would dream about being picked, while I would dream about having the trainer and having that 24/7, like supervised, focused life, I was doing it while I was sitting on my couch eating a huge bowl of ice cream and sometimes cookies with it every single week. And I remember thinking, what what am I doing? This makes no sense at all. But here's what I didn't understand at the time. I was not eating because I was weak. I wasn't eating because I lacked discipline. I wasn't eating because I was hungry. And I wasn't eating because I didn't know any better. It's not like I didn't know what healthy eating was. I was eating because of my day. I was eating because my job was stressful. My adult kids were struggling. I was constantly in a state of worry. My nervous system was completely fried. I basically had no marginal emotional space left. There was no place for that. And so by the time I sat down to watch the show in the evening, I was done. So it wasn't that my evenings were the problem. It was that my 14-hour, 16-hour days were the problem. And what I didn't see at that time was that those Biggest Loser contestants, they lost all of that weight because they were removed from their real lives. I mean, of course they did, right? They were in a position where they had no real stress, no chaos, no emotional, real life emotional load to deal with, and no real life responsibilities. I mean, yeah, sure, the for the sake of ratings, the show created stress and chaos and the emotions, but that was separate from their real life responsibilities. And the minute they went home and real life hit, what happened? The weight came back. We know that from the where are they now stories, right? And here's why. You cannot escape your life and expect it to change you. You cannot escape your life and expect it to change you. You have to change how you live inside the life you actually have. That is the only way that real transformation occurs. You have to change how you live inside of your actual real life. And that was my wake up call. That is what, like, finally helped me to understand and make sense of what was going on. And when I did make sense of that, I finally understood that if my evenings weren't what was failing me, the failure in my life was the load that I was trying to carry. My life load, if you want to put it that way, was what was failing me. And the same is actually true for you. I see this over and over and over again with women who I help get beyond this. If your days don't support you, your nights will never make sense for you. If your boundaries don't support you, your healthy habits will never stick. If your stress load doesn't lighten, your cravings won't either. If your nervous system stays overloaded, your evenings are going to feel chaotic. So, midlife is not the breakdown. In actuality, midlife is the reveal. Your body stops tolerating what you survived in your 30s. It stops accepting the self neglect of the lifestyle you're living. It stops holding up under all that emotional overload. So your evenings aren't the enemy, they're actually the messenger for you. They're showing you exactly where the problem lives. It's a time of revelation and reflection. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Okay. You don't need more discipline and you don't need to try harder. You don't need another plan that works until 5 p.m. when everything starts to fall apart. What you need and what every woman in their 50s or over 50 deserves is you need more bandwidth. You need support. You need breathing room in your real life, real everyday, all day life. When you fix the day, your nights finally make sense. Yeah, that's where my real success came in. I fixed my days, and so my nights didn't feel like a problem anymore. Listen, if this episode finally feels like somebody said the quiet part to you out loud, you are exactly the woman I write for every week in my email list. You are exactly the woman that I write for in my Substack articles. No fluff, no cliches, no diet culture bullshit. Real conversations about midlife, metabolism, emotional load, and why women like us get stuck and how to stop blaming the wrong things and fixing the right things. And that's not with a diet. But you can get all of that. You can join here's my plug for today. All right. You can join my email list and you can subscribe to my Substack articles. I will put a link to both of those in the show notes under the description for this episode, and I'll send you all the good stuff right to your inbox. Thanks for being here today, spending time with me. I always appreciate it. I never take it for granted, and I'll see you right back here next time.